381 or stop by any of our branch locations today. Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank with offices in Norwich, Jewett City, and Plainfield. Member FDIC. Do you, Kasasa?
If you're talking, they will hear you. Every single time.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking during the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You try.
This message has been brought to you by Griswold Pride. Visit us at grizzlepride.org.
Family owned and operated. That's something you don't hear too often anymore. Highway Campers of Plainfield is now 3 generations in and going strong. If you're looking to upgrade or get your first RV, contact the family that knows RVs, Highway Campers. They'll walk you through the process of finding the right RV for you and can even finance it for you. Visit www.highwaycampers.com and find your home on wheels. After all, home is where you park it. Highway Campers is a proud supporter of Griswold Youth Football.
Hi, my name is Dr. Katina Simmons. I'm the optometrist and the new owner of Griswold Eye Care, formerly the office of Dr. Joel Zuckerbrand. I would like to welcome you and your family to make an appointment today for an eye exam. Even though the name has changed, we are still providing the same family-friendly eye care as Dr. Z. We are located at 8 North Main Street in Jewett City. You can also find Griswold Eye Care on Facebook and send us a message. Don't forget that eye exams correlate to your whole body health too. It's not just new glasses and contacts. So, come see me, Dr. Katina Simmons, at the all-new Griswold Eye Care, formerly Dr. Zuckerbrand. Hope to see you soon.
You see the signs everywhere. No alcohol if under 21. No tobacco under 21. No vaping supplies under 21. It's 21 for a reason.
Youth that use alcohol are more likely to engage in other risky behaviors, such as gambling. Learn the warning signs and how to talk to your children about addiction.
It's 21 for a reason. Brought to you by CIRAC and funded in partnership with SAMHSA. Find out more at CIRACCT.org.
Your community radio.
Mike Minarski and Paul Lash in the morning, and 80s all day and night.
SNSN, your community radio.
Live from Main Street.
Mike Minarski and Paul Lash in the morning, and 80s all day and night.
SNSN.
Like they always say things that aren't stupid usually. And when they are stupid, it's funny.
You're right. And the reason why I even know David Gilmour is because he had a song that I love called Blue Light, which was a kind of prog rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
you like Pink Floyd, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I grew up listening to that.
Yeah.
So, well, it's another day here at SNSN, and one of the things that we've been following closely, obviously, has been what's been happening with the school system and what's been happening as or the progression of the multi-purpose field. And Mary Beth reached out to me and said, "Hey, I think there's some things that we need to get out there again." And I've always told them that you have an open forum to come out and say what you want to say, because I think it's very important to get the information from the source and not, I heard from, you know what I mean? Yeah. So. Mary Beth, I know you want to go ahead. I don't know if you want to talk to Glenn Labossiere or bring him forth, because I think there's a lot of things that he hasn't had a chance to say yet.
Glenn Labossiere is what I call our historian. He's been in the district 28, 30 years. He has a lot of history. He used to be PE teacher. Oh boy, athletic director, associate principal of the middle school, and now director of teaching, learning, and innovation. So I'm going to let Glenn talk about this. Isn't a new concept about the multi-purpose field. So I'm going to let Glenn talk about the history that he knows as to how it has been evolving.
So let me ask you before we get to Glenn, do you feel that people think that this is like just a brand new thing and it just kind of came out of the woodwork?
It's some people do. We've been hearing comments how this is really rushed. Mm-hmm. We need to slow this down. It's not rushed. And Sean will lead into that also. But Glenn has the history way back when this all started years ago.
Okay. Glenn Labossiere, who is the Director of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation with Griswold Public Schools. You've been here a few times. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning. So give us an idea of, like Mary Beth said, the history and, how did this all come to be?
Going back when I started coaching here in '93, it was the year 2 of the school being open. And obviously anybody who knows watched a football game at the Griswold complex, it is probably one of the best places to watch a game, fan friendly, the way it's a bowl shape. And obviously back at the time, not a lot of turf fields. So I could see why the building project would have put a grass field in. But over time, as we got into the seasons and things go on, and definitely one of the things that's really changed about artificial turf, way back when I was in high school, NFA had put one in. It was like playing on your living room rug. As field turf came in, you wear cleats on it. It's safe. It's almost like playing on grass, actually safer than grass in a lot of ways for our students. So for years, as the field, every year you're trying to maintain a field and you're trying to keep up with stuff, which is not a knock on anybody. It's just hard to maintain grass fields in New England. And being on a campus, you only have to use organic things to maintain your field. So it makes it even a more difficult situation. So as years went on and field turf evolved and schools started putting in. So as an athletic department, we did look at trying to put in field turf or artificial turf as things went on. During the building project, when we did the elementary and the middle school, it was discussed, but the problem was we weren't doing the high school. So to get reimbursement for that would have to be a high school project, not so much a middle school or elementary project. The other thing, as an athletic director, we try to do soccer games at least once a year, boys and girls soccer games, double headers, things like that. The field's really not wide enough. We would try to push it out almost to the edge of the ability. We have to play like a 63-yard, 65-yard field. It should be. We were playing on more like a 60, 61 yards. Other teams wouldn't mind. What a great experience for our soccer players to be able to play down there. Parents get out of work. They get to go down on the field, watch the games, and it was very successful. It became the facility just wasn't wide enough. So for years, we looked at those things. And years ago, I put together a schedule, what if fall may look like with all the games you could put on it. So field turf has been I can tell you in the athletic world at our school system, it's been on our minds for a long time. And I think it will make it probably the best place to watch a game if it comes to fruition and we put a field turf in.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. We said it is the best place. I predominantly do the away games that we broadcast for Griswold High School, and it's the best place. Just the way it's situated, and it's very comfortable. So, Sean.
Well, Glenn's the expert and has the history and the perspective, and there's going to be different opinions on any kind of topic, and you expect that. But I think it's important that people have the full range of information. We're here to offer some history, some perspective, and some stipulating to facts. Not imagining. This isn't something that came out of the blue in the last couple of years. Yes, there's been an ad hoc committee that consisted of board members, parents, alumni. That were very interested in this. The Board of Education has been involved with this matter. The Board of Finance was involved with this. Back in May, they commissioned a study. So I get the sort of feeling and sense that this may be rushed, but really when you step back and you look at the whole picture, Glenn, who has a 30-year history, it's not new information.
Glenn, when would you say that this actually started? If a resident came up to you and said, when did this whole hullabaloo start? Tell me. I need to know.
As athletic director and working with our coaches in our system, 15 years ago or so, we were starting to really think about it. That's when the fields really changed and schools started putting them in. So 10, 15 years ago.
So 15 years. So it's not rushed.
No, I remember bringing in salesmen and looking at the fields and bringing samples in to try to share with people to show that it was safe, because it was a bad rap for, like I said, the original artificial turf was not very safe, but it is so different now.
So where are we now? I know it's gone to the Board of Finance, and they went ahead and approved the project of up to $3.8 million. Now that's not with contingency, or it is.
That is contingency.
That is contingency.
That is okay.
So right now where we are is it has to go back to the Board of Selectmen, I believe, at the January 17th meeting to set a date.
That'll be a town meeting.
A town meeting, and then set a date for a referendum. They have talked already with a number of people as recently as early as about 2 weeks ago about when can we do this, when can we leverage this. And I would remind everybody, sometimes, Mike, you've been around, you've been following our budget. Sometimes we've had referendum in the summer. We have. You have to do it when you can do it. So that's the next step. We're going to be doing some presentations. I have a couple plan in place that I need to refine, work on with Glenn to do some presentations to faculty, staff, if they're interested, to parents, some other groups. And we're just trying to keep everybody informed. And Mike, the other thing I just have to add real quickly is we anticipate's the operative word here. I think you know this, and a lot of other people know this, that this is going to be a big mover and shaker in terms of tuition. We know that for the past 8 or 9 years, we've exceeded our tuition projection.
Can you explain that to the people that like?
So every year when we
don't understand it at all.
Every year when we do a budget, we have to say, okay, this is what we anticipate, and we try to estimate responsibly. We don't try to go overboard. We are very responsible in our estimations, and we say to the town, we're going to bring in $1 million. Every year since we've been working together on this, we've exceeded that. They give you what we call a credit, if you will, for lack of a better term, towards the budget. That's a $1 million placeholder for tuition, and we've exceeded that consistently for the past 7 years, including this year, to the point what we've exceeded is well over $1 million. It's close to 1.4 million. We're happy to do that. The other piece is we originally started with 4 tuition towns. We're up to 7. And Glenn can tell you, because he has obviously still very much connected to the athletic world and talking to people around here. This is an attraction for students and families to come to Griswold.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think you can put a number on it. If people are looking for a number of how many kids you may attract, but I do think it will impact on our attraction. Athletics have changed. I mean, students care about what brand your jersey is now, or what are those things. And a lot of schools are marketing and putting in, and all the schools we're competing against for students have turf fields. So to put a number on it, I don't know exactly what it would be, but I do think that you would attract more students. And the fact that our soccer teams and lacrosse teams, track, all our athletes will have a chance in the fall and in the spring to get on that field and use the track and the facility. So I think it would be a great attraction. And also the fact that there's a lot less cancellations on a turf field.
Oh yeah.
With weather-wise, which also impacts busing, makeup games. If you can play soccer games in the rain and you have those games, you're not backing up soccer games 2 or 3 games in a row, and as the fall and the spring, and same thing with lacrosse and those things. So I think there's so many benefits to it.
Getting back to sending towns and the money, that's involved in this. I don't know if I don't know if people understand what sending town means. Sure. So basically there's going to be people out. I get it, but I had to learn it. I didn't know it at first, either. But so let's say that basically a kid from Lisbon wants to come to Griswold. The town of Lisbon pays Griswold X amount of dollars for that child to come to Griswold Public Schools.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, is that just the high school, or is that also? Well, no, they have a middle school. So
they have a middle school, so it's primarily for our high school.
Got it.
That's correct. And we see, and Glenn is right. We can't, that's the frustrating piece. We can't put an exact number. We can't guarantee, we can't sign in blood, but we anticipate that we are going to get more students. So this year we estimated 2.4 million for tuition, just because we saw a steady trend. We look at data. We're about $300,000 to $400,000 over. So our thinking is, and it's still early and the board's going to have to weigh in, is that 300,000 to 400,000, if we can up our projection, our revenue responsibly, we believe it would cover the debt for the bond for the field. We believe, again, can't put a number on it, not right now, but we do believe that the tuition eventually is going to help offset the cost of the field.
Absolutely. And one of the other things for our athletic department, our tuition students are such a huge part of our success in our athletics. You look at the fall, believe we had 55 tuition students playing on our teams. In the spring and in the winter, it's always the same thing. So we count on not only for the tuition, and we enjoy having the students from the other towns, but they are a huge piece of our athletics and our success we've had in athletics at Griswold.
And does Griswold benefit from the co-op with Wheeler at all?
No, Wheeler we just provide the opportunity,
Okay.
and Wheeler transports their own students, things like that. So,
okay. I didn't know if there was some sort of now is Stonington or is it North Stonington possibly?
North Stonington's Wheeler. So.
No. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Is North Stonington possibly going to become a sending town?
Oh no,
They
because
have their
a
own high school.
and a new building.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's
They just
only-
built a new high school, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's only towns that do not have their own high school.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Mary Beth, when do you anticipate the referendum at any particular date? I know we're going to go to the 17th. And it's going to go to the Board
Right
of
now,
Education.
it's projected for February 1st.
Okay. So if somebody comes up to you, and I know that's been a big contention of, what do you say? I look at you, in the restaurant. I go, Mary Beth, this is really rushed. What are we doing? I mean, I haven't even had a chance to think about this.
Well,
and it's going bang bang. What do you tell me?
I would explain, like Glenn and Sean have, that this has been in the works for years, except the past 2 years, we've had a very strong group of parents, board members, alumni who have worked to push and push and push this forward. And we've had great relationships with the Board of Finance for them to appropriate the money for the plan, for the study. So it's not rushed. The problem is every month we can keep continuing and putting it off. The cost is going up. So someone said, well, can't you wait till May or June? Can't you wait till after the town votes on the education budget and the town budget? We can't. We're looking at a 5% increase at least. Years ago, it was probably a $1.5 million project. Now we're at 3.5 million. So the longer you wait, the more it's going to go up. And it's not rushed. There's a great PowerPoint presentation. This, again, it's been really pushed for the last 2 years. There's an ad hoc committee. It has come to the Board of Finance. It has come to the Board of Education. So I said, my best suggestion is people look at the PowerPoint presentation on the school website. It's very detailed. It's very good. It breaks down the number of athletes. It breaks down everything. So it's not rushed, except the fact that right now our price is locked in until February 1st or 2nd. And you go beyond that, we're looking at an increase.
All right. So if the referendum happens February 1st, then we can, then Griswold Public Schools can give a purchase order.
That's correct.
On February 2nd.
Mr. McKenna will work with Eric Christensen on obtaining that on February 2nd.
Got it. What do you say to somebody that, like, for example, Sean, they say, well, no, I want to wait until see how this is going to affect the entire town budget?
So I always say I respect the opinion, but we've had situations in the past in my time here when we voted on the work at the school, the senior center, and I believe it was the infrastructure that came before the town budget. I get it. I understand why people think that, but we've been waiting for well over 15 years for this. And I know that the parents and the students in Griswold deserve this. And the other piece to all of this, Mike, it's Griswold Public Schools, our campus is the community center in town. We don't have a YMCA. We don't have a designated building that's a community center. We don't have Boys and Girls Club of America has a site. We don't have that. This is it. I come from a community. I grew up in New London where you have Toby Mayfield, you have Bates Woods, you have the high school. We don't have those kinds of facilities here. This is a community multi-purpose field that everyone can enjoy.
I think that's the big piece right there that really kind of attracts me to, is that everybody can enjoy. Yeah. I know, like Melissa and I will go walking, and on the track, it's tough. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm fat and lazy as it is, and I stumble, and but still, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
because we don't bring our dogs out there. Promise.
Right.
Not at all. We wouldn't do that. But just walking around. I mean, that's just. It's for the community, and do you think people forget that? Like Glenn, like you're of course. I mean, you've been tied into athletics for so many years here in Griswold. Do you think people forget that these facilities are open for the people to use?
Yeah, I do, but I think it's the facilities are used all the time by the community. When I was teaching PE, I'd be outside all the time, and all during the day, get to know all the local community members who come and walk every day. So I think people forget that, but it is the hub of our community. There's no doubt about that. Plus, the other thing I like about having this multi-purpose field and things, it's also going to be able to be used by our middle school. The anticipation would be we'd put a couple middle school soccer games on the field at night so parents could enjoy it. The other thing people don't realize is there's not a lot of middle school tracks. It saves us in transportation because we'll be able to host almost every week. We probably won't have to go on the road very much for our middle school track program. And I know for years we've hosted the QVJC middle school track championships of all the schools around. It's been difficult with the 6 lanes and also as the tracks deteriorate a little bit, but those are things that it's easier on our parents. Hey, just drive right down to the school and also see their middle school kids out there using it.
It's like just go back to when I was walking on the track and stuff like that. They were actually
cracks.
Yeah. They were all over the place. But they were actually people holding lessons. People that weren't even attached to Griswold Public Schools. And they were doing different classes, with different stretching exercises, and they would eventually walk.
Yeah.
But that's, people are able to use.
And for
that.
years, Special Olympics has used our facilities to train their Special Olympians on the track and those things. And even down to our elementary school, Mrs. Langless, our PE teacher of the elementary, runs fun run in the spring. They do a track meet down there at the end. So even right to our elementary school kids will be able to use the facility.
I have a friend that I believe I've told you, Sean, is that he does a lot of the events, schedules the events for the Special Olympics in Connecticut. He's out of New Haven. And I told him about this field. And he said, well, we haven't done anything up there in a while, like, for Unified or anything like that. And he says, all right, well, we'll definitely look at it. So I'm going to connect you guys, to that. So, cause he was like, okay, let's talk about that. So that's exciting. These are things that are, okay. Willimantic put in a community center a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And what was the price tag on that? 22 million?
I'm not sure.
Right around there. It was right around 22 million because I get the point I'm trying to make is that around here in town, Griswold, people were saying, okay, well, we got this really expensive senior center. That's, that's the thing, right? But why don't we have a community center? Really, you do these two together, it's probably 30% less than they spent in Willimantic, and you're going to have the same amenities.
Right.
So look at other towns and see what they're spending compared to what. I mean, those are just things that I'm trying to find holes in this. I'm literally trying to find holes. I really haven't been able to find any holes.
There's going to be different opinions and people are all going to have their own views on things. I think that there's more than ample justification. If, like, taking what Glenn said, if we put in a turf field 15 years ago when we were coming to you, I could almost see that. Wait a minute, you're talking about a whole new thing. That's not the case. The building is 30 years old. 30 years old. The changes to the track and the field have been minor. The scoreboard, this is something that is a wise investment for the community.
Scott Davis just put a comment, said, speaking as a taxpayer, and we know Scott is also a former chair of the Board of Finance and a current member of the Board of Finance, said, time to stop kicking the can down the road and get this project done.
Well said.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't really know what else needs to be said. I mean, other than just keep reiterating, and plus this is a format. Yeah. Mike, go ahead. Hey, Michael.
Hello. My thing is, everybody's talking about the money being spent to create this project and make it work. What is the difference between maintaining the present field versus maintaining the turf field? Now, the labor of the facilities person to mow the lawn, track the lawn, do all these things adds up over the years, as well as fertilizing and all the other costs that go along with the real grass versus artificial. So I was just wondering, is there a financial difference as far as every year in the budget for maintenance that's going to slowly over time actually pay for itself?
I can tell you what, the prep for a football game, it takes at least a day and a half just to line the field, to prep it and do all those things. They're total mowing it, maintaining it, aerating it, keeping the water system, which is 30 years old on the field down there, keeping that maintained and going. So there is a natural going to be some sort of savings. I can't quantify it as of right now. But as far as the maintenance on the field during a fall season, probably every 3 to 5 weeks, the equipment comes with the purchase of the field, and you go out and it really just fluffs up the field, takes care of the pellets in the field. There'll be some daily, if you had a soccer game, there's a lot of corner kicks, you might want to go fluff up where the corner kick happened. But as far as our maintenance department, which people don't realize, we have a very small maintenance department for outside. There's like 1.5 people.
Well,
it's really going to, and they do a great job. And I think there's not a lot of them, but this will free them up also to make sure that maintain other parts of the campus also. But there definitely will be some savings for sure on especially man hours.
And one of the things that when I heard at the meeting, when the Board of Finance special meeting, when the gentleman from Turfield was there, one of the things he had said, I thought, I didn't even think about this. You can plow it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can actually plow it instead of using the blade, on the plow.
Right.
Put like PVC pipe on it and still leave like about an inch on it and just let the irrigation system take care of the rest. And I thought that was really cool. So that would also, I would think, make sure that some games get played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would normally be canceled.
Yeah. Traditionally, I believe there was one time we had to snow blow the field in my day before Thanksgiving, but unfortunately, we usually don't have that kind of snow. Yeah. And the spring snow usually goes away pretty fast. The other thing that we'd have to, another utilization you could do, because you have lights in the spring, as you know, softball, baseball fields, those things they're muddy. Sometimes if you get a late April snow, there is the ability where you could go out there and still take fly balls after, track's done, lacrosse is done, come in at night and do fly balls, things like that, and still have some sort of practices going on outside.
See, I didn't even think about that. I think about like those teams coming in and doing that.
This is why we had to bring Glenn down.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Wealth of
Historian,
information.
athletic.
Historian.
No, the lights too, they're going to be a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a cost savings, is it not?
We seem to think, again, and I think we have to be, I have to be careful, Glenn, as we seem to think so. It's going to be LED lighting. However, the other piece to this is it will afford us more opportunities to do night games. So for various sports, but we seem to think so.
And the lights will have 3 different levels of lighting. There's game lighting, there's practice lighting, and also the game's over and the lights go down a little bit. Time to go home lighting. So
time to go home lighting. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Steve Gravino pipes in, says hundreds of hours a year in maintenance. Currently, paint, water, mowing, etc. So now there's going to be a cost savings on the lights. I'm assuming because they're LEDs.
Yeah. So in talking to Ken Sullivan, it's roughly speaking.
Ken Sullivan, director of JC.
Correct. He's the expert, not me. About 30%. But again, what that looks like when you have more night games, I don't exactly know. So
Sure.
And the other thing with maintenance, we'll still have to line the current soccer field thing for practices because we'll have games down there and practice up in the other place. Like in football, I can say every few weeks you just update the lines a little bit so you can have practices. So that would also be a savings that we're not maintaining the soccer field at that game level painting all the time. It's every few weeks, just touch them up so you have the boundaries and things for practices. So
and it'll be bright and fun and interesting, and it'll say Griswold on both sides.
You'll have a new scoreboard.
Ergonomics are going to be nuts.
You're going to have a new track. It's just going to look
new
great.
fencing.
I think that's the piece that gets lost the track.
Yeah.
A lot of people say football, but it's
a multi-purpose.
It is soccer. Maybe
12
field hockey later on down the road.
12 teams.
12
and actually,
teams.
Glenn did went a little bit deeper into the data with the girls' sports for the fall.
Yeah, people we always sometimes Title IX comes up or the numbers. Traditionally in the fall, we always have more girl athletes, and same was true this year. We had about 30 or 40 more female athletes in the fall overall on our roster. So I know that question comes up, but everybody will be down there. And a Title IX issue I don't think there's ever been an issue with Title IX. And for Griswold Athletics, I think we support our female sports just as well as our male sports.
Sarah Confer says, I totally support this project, not just for the school, but also for the community. If we just use the money returned to the town by the Board of Education each year, this project would be self-financing. That's from a resident. It's really echoing what you said earlier.
Right.
I'm going to read one more comment, and I know you guys got to get out of here because you have a meeting to get to. Scott Davis will be able to return to having a bank of lights on during the evening to allow the public to walk the track, as was done many years ago.
He's absolutely right. Years ago, when I first started at Griswold, there were lights on every night, so that I think they used to shut off at, don't quote, 10 o'clock ish. So
I think it's a little earlier than that because I know
Yeah.
Melissa and I we'd go there and go, "This is getting kind of creepy."
Yeah.
And we would no, because it's it's dark and it's like that. So,
but and many people utilize it, especially in the fall once they turn the clocks back and it's dark
Yeah.
at 4:00. People still have a place to go safely exercise. So.
Got it.
Absolutely right.
Well, hopefully, I mean, I'm sure we'll have you guys back again because
Sure.
there's going to be more questions that are going to come, especially in the 11th hour.
Mhm.
Right before town meeting and referendum. So. I really appreciate you guys coming in and
Thank you for
educating the
having us.
public. Yeah, no.
we
I'm
appreciate
glad to. And Glenn, if I mean, of course, you don't come in as many times as Sean and Mary Beth, but of course, you're welcome anytime as well.
We'll drag him in on from now on. We'll bring
Well,
him
I'm
in.
glad you came this time. I mean, they were right. I mean,
He's
you
a
added lot.
historian.
Yeah,
He knows all the history in the whole school.
Got it. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank
Anything
you.
else you want to say, or
Nope. I'll let your new
all right
co-host take over.
Well, actually, he's been around.
Okay.
He actually helped me build this thing. Thank you very much, guys.
I'm not usually in front of the microphone.
Okay. Enjoy.
It's Mary Beth Malin, Sean McKenna, and Glenn Lavoisier, all from Griswold Public Schools. It's always great to have those conversations. Here, let me fix you up here, Michael.
Is that me?
God, you're tall.
Want me to sit down?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and reposition the camera. There we go. Here, why don't you go that way?
This way?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There we go.
So anyway, it's really good to have the folks in from Griswold Public Schools.
Yeah.
To go ahead and because you hear so much crap, on social media.
I think when you get the information from the source, not telephone, the kids gain telephone, you tell it around the whole room, but it comes back wrong. So instead of doing telephone, coming and doing this here and other places where they to get out what is actually going on, the news, and telling people where to go on the website, on the school website to get that information, and getting that out to people so that they have all the information to make the decision. And in today's world with the internet,
sure,
it's so easy to get information out very quickly.
And it's so easy to get false information.
Right. But there's always that nice, like today's program is going to be put on and people can
Sure.
review this for weeks from now, months from now, so they can go back and actually can research things if people really want to know what's going on, talking to the people and seeing the people who really are doing it, getting the information directly from them. It's always a great idea.
And this, doing shows like this, I believe, and I feel that this will help spur other conversation because like I would be doing, these shows and listening to Mr. McKenna, Mrs. Malin, and Mr. Lavoisier, and all of a sudden another question would pop into my head about this because I'm a Griswold taxpayer as well, so it concerns me, and I do want to put something out there that is a misconception about me, and this whole project. I was accused of saying, of course, you're all for this because you have skin in the game. Because the thing is yeah, I know, I know, because I broadcast Griswold sports.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, whether it's an old field or a new field, I'm still there.
Yeah, but you're not doing home games.
There you go.
So you're not physically there.
I'm not even doing home games. We're doing away games. So you know what? Get crappy with Waterford, and what they're spending because we're there. But anyway, I don't have any skin in the game.
Well, I could see if they were talking about doing away with sports and just shutting everything down, going to get rid of sports, then you'd have some skin in the game because that's part of your business revenue. But it's the idea that this has nothing to do with that. Yeah. What condition the field's in doesn't make anything as far as broadcasting a game. Other than maybe a little comments like he slipped in the mud. But other than that, I don't think it has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So
I did want to attack that subject because the whole reason why I am for this project has nothing to do with SNSN. Yeah. Nothing to do. We talked about it.
Yeah, but it's like everything, okay? preventive maintenance.
Yeah.
This field should have been prevented maintenance, like they're saying, like 15 years ago. I mean, how long do you think a football field's going to last without you have to invest into it, or a building?
You want to
or anything? Hey, here he is,
Jim Barney. What's up,
Jim Barney? What's happening? Come on in.
Oh, I'm on my honey-do list.
Okay,
honey-do this microphone. Come on over. We haven't seen you in
Have a
ages.
seat.
I get 5 minutes.
You have 5 minutes? All right. Well,
Get
that's
5 minutes.
that's fine, because I have a question. We just had in the Board of Education
This morning.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we talked about, of course, the multi-field project.
Yep.
That's coming up.
Yep.
And as a Griswold tax-paying resident, as you are,
yep,
what are your thoughts on this project?
That's a really tough question, Mike, especially where I sit on a number of different committees and stuff. You know, totally mixed emotions. Okay, I mean,
that's fair.
I understand the need for good fields. On the other hand, I also understand the need for good roads. And I spoke about this briefly at the facilities committee meeting last week. And I certainly don't want to be pitting the Board of Education in their fields against roads for the town.
Right.
You know, so it's. I mean, we've talked about bonding for the roads in the past, and none of us really were in favor of doing that for roads. So, you know, I mean, you can make an argument for it any way you want. The argument is there's a number of children, students that use the athletic fields, plus some town people.
Yep.
And then on the other hand, there's 14,000 residents in the town and borough that use the streets. Where do you put your priorities? I don't know.
It's a good question. I mean, it's definitely a good question. Mike, do you have a rebuttal to that, or
Well,
an addition? Or?
I think in addition, streets help keep the town going. You know,
Obviously,
it brings in revenue, and the school system teaches our children it's a liability that we have to have. But I think in the way they're approaching this, with looking at the budget and how it's working, they're not going out for a brand new big indoor field that's going to cost $15.5 million, and they're keeping it reasonable. And the money, like I said, well, I was worried about the maintenance costs. They're trying to do things to make it as least expensive as possible. They are showing those efforts. So it's right. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you got so many things that you have to consider in a town. Where do you go with the money?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, and I said this earlier, you were here, and Jim is like, people were clamoring when about the senior center, saying, why can't we just have a community center, with different items? And I remember the town of Willimantic, just in the last 2 or 3 years, they built a community center, along with their senior center, the whole thing. And the price tag was like $22 million. Initially, it was almost 30, but, they chopped it down to, I think, 22 and a half or something like that. And I would get on social media saying, do you have any idea what a community center is going to cost? This isn't, throw up a metal building and, and kind of, do your thing. But the addition of this field and everything, that's going to be, there's your community center. Between that and the senior center, I feel that's your community center. Because like I was saying, Melissa and I go out and walk.
Okay. But how many people walk? 50 people?
Oh, no, Jim, many more than that.
Well, that's kind of the number I think I heard the other night.
Yeah, no. Maybe a night, but there's much more than that.
But you raised an interesting question. Well, you didn't raise the question. You made an interesting comment.
What's that?
Throw up a metal building.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I've traveled all over the country, and I see in small towns throughout the nation, fire stations and stuff like that. They're not building massive brick edifices. They're putting up space metal buildings to store their equipment in. I mean, what are we trying to make a statement about? So I mean,
Senior center was a lot of money. Okay. The roads are a lot of money. The school's a lot of money. One of the things that bothers me in particular is that being on as many committees as I'm on, we can't get $15,000 to appropriated to take care of having some kind of secretarial help. Okay, and I'm speaking the capital improvement committee. I do that myself largely. Okay, and then bring it in for the rest of the people to review. I do the layout and everything else. I don't need any help with that. I spend a lot of hours in it. Okay, but I don't need any help with that. But the ordinance committee, there's a lot of writing. I mean, I've written a couple of the ordinances, scoffing from other places, putting it together and integrating it, and numerous iterations. Okay.
Yep.
We can't get $15,000 to support some of our boards, and probably the volunteerism in this town is probably worth. If you went out and paid for all the volunteerism in this town, you're probably talking about $250,000 to $500,000 a year. You can't get $15,000. I know that's not addressing the question you specifically asked,
No,
but that's a real sore point in my mind right now.
I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, obviously that are needed in this town.
Every town.
Sure. I mean, I don't know where to caveat off of that, but I mean, yeah, there is a lot of work. There's a lot of the only people that get paid really on the boards are the first selectman and the second and third get a stipend, which was cut in half about 7 years ago,
something like that. Yeah.
7 years ago now.
Yeah.
Griswold was actually probably the one of the most expensive, or had the largest salaries for second and third selectmen. Next, I think, was Guilford. Guilford was, I think, a little bit higher, but we were like second or third in the entire state. So. Anyway,
I mean, if you look at the hour, if somebody's doing the selectman's job well, you look at the hours that are put in on that job. The pay is, I don't think much of anybody's doing it for the pay. I mean, what's the pay? $55,000 a year.
Yeah, right around there. Yeah, and a lot of hours. Never mind that, but all of the public appearances that you're supposed to make with, to different events.
Yeah,
that you should be at.
And all of the abuse, I'll use that word, that they occasionally get.
Victoria says, "Hi, Jim. Good to see you."
Hi, Victoria.
Sarah, when I look at my state income taxes for last year, I have to wonder why the state isn't kicking in for the town roads. I think the issue is the lack of state money to support small town infrastructure, given we are all also state taxpayers.
There is some money that comes from the state, to the best of my knowledge. Unfortunately, the gas.
Not enough.
That's because the administrations, and not just this one, prior ones, they keep robbing from the transportation fund to do other projects that'll buy them votes. Okay.
Yeah, like that wonderful bus that goes between New Britain and Hartford that I think 3 people have used. That was $1 million project.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm speaking
about? I don't know specifically, but I know, I've heard of it. It runs between here and there, and what do you got? 3 people every day riding it?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And there was a lot of money they spent on that. So any other thoughts, Jim? I mean, I value your opinion. I mean, you've been in this town. You work tirelessly on, like you said, boards and commissions here in town. So you've got your finger on the pulse.
I don't know if I do.
Well, I mean, I would think that you do. I mean, you don't. The one of the things that I notice is that you don't tell me maybe you think I want to hear.
No, I
or
tell
anybody
you
else. Yeah.
You ask anybody. You're gonna get what I truly believe. Okay.
That's why I roped you in.
And the other thing I will say is that my father said something to me when I was a pretty young man. He says, "You came into this world with nothing but your integrity. See if you can leave with it."
Yeah.
And I'm doing my best to do that.
Yeah. The one of the things I was taught along the same line, my first job in radio was a guy by the name of Mike Girardi. And I'll never forget this. He just looked at me and he said, Mike, your word is your bond.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
He goes, if you don't have your word, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for 50 years, a handshake with another developer.
Yeah.
Jim, you want these lots? Yeah. He says, okay, here. We shook hands. He gave me the deed for them. We built the houses, gave him his money.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty hard to do that today.
It's a shame.
Because a man's word isn't his bond necessarily anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Sucks. So what are you
I
doing
guess you
today?
got me hot to this morning, huh? You like doing that anyways.
No. So what are you doing today? You said you got a honey-do list?
It's mostly a Jim do list.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And in fact, it's all a Jim do list. The honey's going to help out.
Well, I don't want to keep you here any longer.
I'm waiting for her to call me.
All right.
I got to meet her someplace and do a couple of things. Then she's got her own list to do.
Oh, all right. Now, are you going to help her with her list?
No, she prefers to do it herself.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Same thing with Melissa. When she's got something to do and everything, I say, can I help? No. Even when it comes to, were you there that night when she was trying to hang the clock?
No, I wasn't there.
So Melissa's 5'1", maybe.
Oh, she's taller than Carolyn.
Oh, really? Carolyn's
4'11" and a half.
Oh my goodness.
She won't even round it up to 5 feet. But it's one heck of a dynamite package.
She we have a big round clock that's on the wall to the right of our fireplace, and we had to change the battery. So she was able to take it down and everything.
Putting it up is a different story.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a little hole,
Yep.
to go on that nail, and then she kept going and going and going. I mean, we're talking legit 10 minutes. You want me to help you? No. I said, I'm taller. Maybe I could. No, I got it. I mean, she was getting like, I got it. Okay. You got it. And guess what? She got it.
Yeah.
But now that it needs another battery, I figured you got it. I told her. She didn't say. Maybe
she had to show she was capable.
Oh yeah, she's capable of a lot of stuff. I think I proved nothing to me, but she's she's like very like, I got it. It's a hot topic, that field.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Some people are I think what I found in town is most people are for it. And I'm not just saying that because that's what I think that I want or anything. I'm not trying to will it that way. But
you're definitely a supporter of it.
I am a supporter of it. But for a lot of reasons we were talking about, I think, before you got here. A lot of reasons that have nothing to do with what I do here.
Yeah.
I mean, all the reasons I have, I don't have a stake in it.
I don't have enough knowledge on the whole thing and the costs and everything else. I mean, I was surprised that the finance board moved it forward to referendum when apparently there aren't really any firm numbers or even quasi-firm numbers on what it's going to cost, what it's going to do to the mill rate and all that kind of stuff. I want to know all that stuff.
Oh no, it's the cost is solid.
Yeah,
with contingency.
There's a pretty good sized contingency there. But I should have let me rephrase that. The ongoing expense. I mean, my understanding is that it may be incorrect that the field is going to be good for about the length of the bonding. Okay, and then you're going to be replacing it. And what's it going to cost to replace it if it lasts 15 years, which is what they're talking about?
God, I think they said 30,000.
What?
30,000 for the field?
400,000 to put the field in.
Oh, is it? No, but they don't have to replace the whole thing. Oh God, I'm going to get myself in trouble. I don't want to talk about it, but it was a nominal number. That's all in the PowerPoint.
I haven't seen it, to be honest.
Yeah. Just go to the Board of Education website. It's there.
Yeah.
And it's easy to.
Well, that's why I preface my statement that I don't have.
Yeah,
I don't have adequate knowledge on it to talk about it particularly.
I mean, I don't know. was telling Mike, I said, I'm looking for holes. I'm literally looking for holes in this.
Well,
to see.
as a former high school student, not in Griswold, but when I was on high school, I was on the track team. We didn't have a track at my high school. We had to ride to the next town over on a school bus to do, I've gone to school all day long. I wanted to go to track. I enjoyed being on track, but after the one season of track, I was like, by the time I got home, and it was, where if it was right at the school, right after school, boom, home at a reasonable time. And to me, as a student, I found it to the point where I enjoyed track, but not that much. to put that type of commitment into my day when, you got other things as a student to get your homework done and, take care of things at home and your responsibilities and chores and stuff at home. So I always found it inconvenient as a student.
Yeah.
Because I think then any of the students at Griswold who have things are already at school most of the time when things are happening for, practice and stuff like that. So it's just so much easier just to be there. And then
there's no question about that. But 50% of the time you had to travel anyways to go to another team's location.
Right.
So
for competition, yes. I was talking about just practice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, practice day, the daily, because you can plan out your daily routine on the schedule, and it's this day, that day. But when it's practice 2-3 times a week, and you're trying to keep up with everything else, and you're adding that extra 20 minutes this way, 20 minutes that way on top of everything. And then in the winter months, if you're a sports person, it's dark out, so it does change things. So from that point of view, I think I like the idea of having something more usable at home.
Okay.
I don't know whether to broach the bigger subject or not.
What do you mean?
I guess I opened my mouth.
Yep. And
Carolyn, call, save me. Oh God. My understanding is that when Jimmy Carter was running for president, that one of the major teachers unions approached his people and said, "We'll vote for you if you create a federal Department of Education." Okay. I believe that education in this country has gone downhill since the Federal Department of Education was created. That has nothing to say about our teachers, our administrators, or anything else. They got a job that's unbelievably difficult. Okay. I want us to go back to home rule. We get tons of mandates shoved down our throats every year, mostly coming from the federal government, passed on to the state. The state passes them on to us. I have argued in front of the school board many times for many years. Tell them, no, we're not going to do them if you don't fund them. Okay. Everybody's afraid of losing the small amount of tax dollars we get already for it. All right. Gather all
You're talking about the ECS funding?
Amongst other things. Yeah. Okay. Get everybody here this side of the river. Get every superintendent this side of the river and say, we're not going to do it. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Really? Okay. I mean, I saw a report, and I don't remember where it was, but it was done by one of the superintendents of further west of here. And the number of unfunded mandates was unbelievable, as was the cost. So let's take back the school systems on a local basis.
I think personally, I don't know if it's so much that education. I mean, education has changed, but I'm gonna say it's evolved into other things. Like, for example, I was never, ever a good test taker.
And many people are
just not. Didn't mean I was an idiot.
No.
So, like, for example, in history class, I had a problem with history. You know why? Because it didn't care. I hated it. I did great in other things. I almost didn't graduate in 1984 because of my history grade that I could have given a crap about.
That was English for me.
Was it? Your native language. Look at that. So
math was a snap.
Yeah. So I had to go. Yeah. No problem with math. And nope. I was not going to pass unless I did so I did, and then I ended up passing with like a 73 for the year because 70 was actually a passing grade, not 60. So with that being said, I think they've evolved to look at other metrics, instead of just what did Johnny get on his multiple choice Iowa test, because damn well every kid, they were just filling in the blanks.
Yep.
That's what I did.
I
think it's evolved. I think things have evolved, but that's just me.
I mean, I know young people, smart as hell, but can't take a test. Okay.
Yeah.
They can fix anything.
Yeah.
They'd never seen it before. They can take it apart and put it back together and fix it.
True.
I mean, was it Alexander Lamar, not the president or the most recent Lamar that was governor of Tennessee, I believe it was, but I think it was his father. He wanted to change the education system because the education system is focused on students that typically do well under the situation that they're working under.
Yeah, and I'll go as far as saying this. I knew kids in high school, not necessarily in my grade, but had high honors. I mean, they literally had 98s, 99s for their average for either the quarter or even the year. You know how many of those are actually, they have no idea what's going on?
Yeah, most of them.
No clue. No clue.
I mean, it was like I worked on the research division most of my career. Probably fully 1/3 of the staff there was PhD level people.
Yeah.
Smart as hell. But some of them had no common sense.
Yeah, this is not to say that people that can take tests are dumb.
No.
It's not that at all.
No, not at all.
But I'm telling you, just because you knew how to, or you were good at test taking, didn't make you smart. But see, back then, that's the only way it was gauged. Now, Mike, you went to school for education.
Well,
and to become a teacher. So, have you seen it evolve?
Yes. What has happened is they used to teach to the test, and now they teach to the individual.
So there's an evolution going.
There's an evolution going on. You don't, as far as teaching goes nowadays, the way that I was taught in 2015, 2016, was that they're individuals and you teach them as individuals. And then you take an overall average of those individuals and give it to the government and give them so that the government can have a standard, which doesn't help the individual in any way. So, but it's
we started out good, but we screwed it up.
Well, but it's the idea. What the important part is that the individual, because when I went to college for 10 years, I went into every class, didn't care what grade I got, because I started college at age 42. I didn't care what grade I got. I wanted the information. And if I didn't get the information, I repeated the class because I wanted to make sure. And I changed professors because sometimes I'm just not connecting with certain teachers. Yeah. So
see, in high school, you didn't get that option.
No, you don't get that option.
You didn't get that option when I was in school. It's like, it's like, suck it up, Buttercup. If you don't like this teacher, they don't like you. Because that happened. You're screwed and tattooed.
So that's the thing. That's one of the limits of education in the public school system. But it's the idea that you're getting them something, and now that you're leaning towards the individual, you're getting more out of it. So that's the big thing. They're seeing what each individual needs and addressing that for each individual, not just the kid, addressing the kid who is an individual who is tearing up the room and running up and down the hallways and not paying attention. They would put their effort into that student, and the others would just have to go along, where now they're putting the effort into every student. So it makes a big difference on the overall average. But this is a friend of mine who was my student taught with her. Unfortunately, she's passed since. She taught for over 40 years, like 44 years. And she'd sit to go, here we go again. I'm going, what do you mean? It's the same thing. They just shuffle it around, the information in the book, and then they rename it and go, here, try this program. She says it's cycled through. But what's nice about the new stuff that I was learning at Three Rivers was that cycle goes through, but you take as a teacher the individual student now and work with that information with them. So as those cycles of information and requirements go through from the government, you as an individual have to worry about the individual student.
Did you get that call from Carolyn that you were looking for?
I'm looking for it because it's about that time.
Save me. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. But I think we're going to do that anyway. So it was a good visit with the Board of Education and Griswold Public Schools Superintendent, and of course, the Director of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation, Glenn LaBosse here. So who has been with the school system over 30 years.
And he knows, wow, the information.
He's been in so many different.
It's great.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, and I've said it before, and when it comes to this, I can't seem to find a hole in this. Is it money? Yeah, of course it is. But so was the senior center. So is infrastructure. So is this. But these are things that I think push Griswold into another sector. I think it puts Griswold. It's a lot of it could be smoke and mirrors and imagery. But that's not a bad thing. When you're looking, you want more kids to come to Griswold for their education, from different towns that don't have high schools.
And everything has to be maintained.
Yeah.
The buildings have to be maintained. The fields have to, everything that the school system has to be maintained. So do you repaint a room or you just wash the walls? Do you, what do you decide to do with the money as far as maintenance, in let's say the school system? How do you maintain it? And to me, I know it seems like a lot of money, but the money they're talking compared to a building and a big facility and that, it's not, and they'll get a lot of use out of it, and maintenance will be down some.
Do you remember sometimes there's truth in advertising?
Sometimes,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm talking on a national level.
Well, don't go get a hamburger.
Either side of the coin. I mean, the people that are pro this whole project, they can put together a very good package saying this is why it should be done. This is the benefits, and those that are against it can do exactly the same.
Sure. Yep. So where I was going with the whole truth in advertising thing is, it was an old commercial back in the 70s. It was Midas Muffler.
Oh yeah.
You can pay me now,
or
you can pay me later.
Yeah.
Either way, you're gonna pay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
What?
Because I went to Midas Muffler
Did you?
once. Service was lousy. Went home and did it myself. Never been back.
So you paid yourself.
Never been back.
Never been back.
Screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on me.
Well, Jim, thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
I only intended to walk by and give you a wave.
I'm roping you in when you're doing that. You don't want to get roped in. What you do, you poke your head in and run. Mike, thanks for coming on and helping out this morning. So tomorrow we will be back once again right here on SNSN. Have a good day, everyone.
You see the signs everywhere. No alcohol if under 21. No tobacco under 21. No vaping supplies under 21. It's 21 for a reason.
Youth that use alcohol are more likely to engage in other risky behaviors.